Hello and welcome to the tip of the week. Today I'm going to talk about the emotion of fear and how it really does play an important role in our lives. I know for myself, there's books out there like Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. I remember reading that book a really long time ago, but I recognize that a large part of my life has been spent trying to deny my fear, ignore my fear, minimize my fear, overcome my fears, anything but actually feeling my fear in hopes that one day it would disappear and I could live fear free. And honestly, it's been exhausting doing that. So, as many of you know, I've been taking some training through the Neufeld Institute, loving every minute of it. And I was delighted to learn from Dr. Neufeld that fear is a very important emotion. It's a vulnerable emotion, it's a human emotion, and it's a very important emotion. A healthy fear is what keeps us safe and helps us in terms of our judgment and placing ourselves in situations that are going to either be healthy or harmful to us. So I'm realizing now what's most important is that I allow myself to feel a healthy fear and then act in the face of the fear in those places where it's going to help with my growth and development, which really means that I should be focusing on developing a sense of courage as opposed to focusing so much on fear. And courage really is acting in the presence of fear. So being able to feel my fear and then making the choice to move forward anyway and allowing myself to feel the vulnerability of fear, because fear is really one of those very vulnerable emotions. Now, if you look at our children, many of them, and we see this with our adolescents, um, the I love what Neufeld says. He says the world is a wounding place, and for all of us, we've experienced a certain level of wounding. And what we can see with our children uh, is if we have we have contributed to shutting down that vulnerable emotions. One of the emotions that they will lose is the emotion of fear, and they become quite desensitized. And what happens then is we have adolescents who are engaging in very, very risky behavior and placing themselves in harm's way because the part of the brain that tells them that they shouldn't be, that this might not be good for them, is not working properly. And that's where we see our kids perhaps getting into relationships with people or hanging out with groups of people that are not good for them, that are psychologically harmful for them, aren't kind to them. Where we see our kids pursuing other kids that aren't kind to them or perhaps bullying them. We will also see our kids engaging in risky activities like experimenting with drugs and alcohol because the alarm center in the brain is not working the way it should to say this is not good for you, this is not healthy, and you shouldn't be doing this. And one of the things that I see that concerns me is that we tend in Western society, anyways, to normalize this. Oh, that's just kids, that's what they'll do, that's normal. But what we end up having are grown-ups that also have shut off their vulnerable emotions, including fear, and it affects our integrity. It affects the way that we operate in society, the way we treat each other, and the situations that we create that are perhaps not safe or not healthy and not good. Yet we start to consider this as normal. So my suggestion is that if you have fear, I think I'm sharing this piece this week because I want people out there who have a healthy amount of fear to understand that this is normal, and you don't want to be focusing on getting rid of your fear. The work really is to allow yourself to feel the fear or feel the vulnerability of being afraid of something, whatever it is, and perhaps finding your tears around that. So that you can move forward from that place as opposed to working on top of the fear, trying to repress it, and then having to experience the cost of repressing our emotions, which sometimes can be a high level of anxiety, um, among other things. We never want to repress our emotions. So if you feel fear, know that it's good, it's healthy, uh, and that allow yourself to feel it. The trouble comes when we are repressing it. Allow yourself to feel it and then act from that place and focus on developing your courage. You know, brain scientists, I always say they're taking these incredible pictures of the brain. They know so much now. And when we feel our vulnerable emotions, we grow and we develop and we evolve, and we have this unlimited potential. Fear is not something that we can overcome. It is part of who we are as human beings. So it's really a matter of just allowing ourselves to be with the fear and processing it, and not allowing it to stop us in the areas of our life where we want to move forward, and also not letting it control us because we're putting so much focus on trying to manage it. So this week, just notice yourself, and if you have kids, notice where perhaps you might be pushing them into situations where their fear is telling them they're not ready for it. And I mean, I see this all the time, and I have been guilty myself, where my children have a healthy amount of fear and their instincts are telling them something, and I'm just sort of telling them to get over it, as opposed to letting them perhaps find their tears, helping them to process their fear in a healthy way. So this week, just notice where your fear comes up, where you choose to ignore it or repress it, or you know, notice where you have learned in your life to deny it, and the places where you maybe should have a little bit more fear about something than you do. So have a great week, and I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. Bye.